Alright, sweet. We're updating. Cool. Alright, so Line 6 released HELIX Firmware 3.50 today. It is November the 3rd, 2022. And from what I could tell, I've quickly looked at the release notes earlier today before I started updating my HELIX. And from what I can tell, this is a pretty huge update, specifically with the CABS section. There's a completely different CABS section now. We've all been asking for new CABS, especially since they released Line 6 Metallurgy and we heard how great the CABS sounded in those plugins. Well, those are going in the HELIX now, and that's really, really cool. I want to go over the release notes really quickly, and then we will plug into the HELIX, get some sounds, and see what everything sounds like. So I'm not going to go through and name all the new cabs, but we have 20 new guitar cabs ranging from a Princeton all the way to an Angle extra large V30 cab. So pretty much anything you want. If you want some really cool clean tones, all the way to something super high gain, it is covered in the new Line 6 HELIX firmware. There are also 4 new bass cabs. I won't be touching on those in the video, but that's cool. You have 2 cabs from Ampeg, something from Mesa Boogie, and then an Eden cab, which all those sound really cool. I'm also really looking forward to checking out the 2 new amp sims we have in the HELIX. We have the Moon, which is based off the Sun Model T, and we have the Vitriol amp, which is based off of Michelin Source PV Invective. On top of that, we also have 2 new overdrive pedals and some wet effects. There's a new reverb, some chorus stuff. We'll take a look at those as well. And along with all that, some additional features with Line 6 HELIX Firmware 3.5. We now have the capability to use dual IR blocks. So instead of just a single IR, there is a block specifically for dual IR, so you won't have to take up 2 lines and do that weird thing where you use an extra line for another IR. That's just in a block now. Also on top of that, the new cabs and the new impulse responses in the HELIX use 66 to 80% less DSP. And that's great because the cab sections and the IRs are not going to use too much of your DSP, so if you want to throw another reverb or throw another overdrive pedal or whatever that may be, there's going to be more DSP available for you on your HELIX because the cabs and the impulse responses aren't using up too much of the unit's DSP. Still updating. I'm in the second part. I'm like 59% of the way there, whatever that means. Okay, so here I am in HX Edit with a brand new preset. First thing I want to check out is that Vitriol amp. I'm really looking forward to that because I love PV style amps. And we're not even going to do an impulse response this time around. We're just going to go straight down to the PV Vitriol amp plus cab and see what that looks like. See the PV lead. Like, it's definitely a step up, but I'm having a hard time deciding if it's like on par with people like ML Sound Lab and Mercurial Neural DSP. Let's check out the cab section. On here we have like a graphic representation of the speaker cone, and there's a microphone, and you can turn it at a 45-degree angle or have it at a 0-degree angle. So those are the only 2 options as far as you have for like the Fredman technique or just doing something off axis. Take a look at something besides that 47 condenser FET. Take a look at a 160 ribbon. Change the position to a little more on top of the speaker cone itself. So I do really like the graphic representation of the speaker cone in the HX Edit. Obviously that's not showing up on my HELIX screen, but it's really cool for right here. There's also a distance control, and that also will show up on your screen as well. If you're using one of the onboard cabs, like I said earlier, there is a block for dual IRs now, which is really cool. We'll check that out in a minute. But if you were wanting to do 2 microphones, you would have to make 2 separate blocks. So I'm gonna see if I can do that really quick. So if you wanted to have 2 microphones, you would need to have 2 cab blocks. So say we want to do a 57 and a ribbon 160. I think someone with a better ear for dialing in cabs and microphones would be able to do something really cool with using 2 cab blocks. With just the 1 cab block, it still really reminds me of like just a Line 6 Helix overdriven tone. But you throw in the 2 cab blocks and mix some microphones, it really starts to beef up a lot in my opinion. Let's go back to just an amp and cab block. Let's take a look at that Moon amp. That's another new amp that we have. And we'll go to the Moon, we'll do the jumped. And if I recall correctly, I think the Moon amp was in the Thrash plug-in from Line 6 Metallurgy, and I don't remember it being like particularly high gain just by itself, but you could dial it in. Let's see, there's a new overdrive pedal as well. There are 2 new overdrive pedals. One of them is the Plumes from Earthquaker Devices. It's called the Pillars on here. Yeah, so that is the Moon amp and the Moon cabs. I do really enjoy the Moon cabs. I'm going to do I like the Vitriol amp better than the Moon amp, just for myself. Actually, I really like the cab from the Moon though. It has just kind of like a barkiness to it that some of these other cabs don't have. So let's do a Vitriol head and a cab from Moon. See, I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of the Vitriol amp and the Moon cab. There are a ton of cabs to look at. I'm not going to go through all of them. I will take a look at this extra large V30. Okay, so let's go ahead and load up a dual IR. We'll load up a dual IR, and on the first one, let's see if we can find something from ML Sound Lab. Mega Gent Mix Gent, and then on IRB, we will do another ML Sound Lab. To be honest, I do think the cabs sound significantly better, and I hate to be that guy who is kind of like, but I still think some third-party IRs that you can get from people who are focusing specifically on heavy metal music is still going to be better. All of this is completely usable. There's nothing on here that isn't usable. There are no cabs or no amp sounds that you just couldn't use. Let's do a fun experiment. I have some impulse responses that I captured from the Metallurgy pack. So here is the Moon 4x12, and this is with the E906 and a FET47, and I'm also going to load up a cab block of the Moon. I can do it with the 906 mic. So I'll turn them off, I'll go back and forth, we'll do the IR, and then we'll do the cab. That sounds sweet. Alright, let's turn that off and turn the cab on. Honestly, that only has the one mic. Maybe I'm eating my own words. This only has the one mic, and it sounds almost as good as the impulse response I took with the 2 mics. So if you wanted to do an E906 and a FET47 in the plug-in now, you totally can. Like, this is the same mic setup I had in that cab impulse response that I took from Metallurgy. Yeah, I think it sounds great. I think if you are trying to find something that is plug and play and sounds really good, I think you're still going to have more luck with people who are focusing specifically on heavy metal. But if you enjoy dialing in the amp sounds and the cab sounds, which sometimes that strikes me and I do enjoy doing that, then I think that the HELIX became just even more viable of an option. So if you have a HELIX and you haven't downloaded firmware 3.5 yet, people are calling it the CAB update for a reason. So definitely give that a try. I think you will really enjoy what you find.